And viewers, we are back here on Youth Wednesdays on Tobago Updates. We are ready and here to kickstart our first interview for the morning. This morning, I have two lovely faces, very much prepared to give you that information you would need for this segment. We have with us this morning Miss Marion Kent. She is a member of the Tobago Special Needs School Committee, and she is also a major in psychology. She's very much ready and very much prepared to tell you about our topic for this morning. And next we have the very much smiling Miss Cordelia Pantin. Good morning to Miss Pantin. She's also a member of the Tobago Special Needs School Committee and also the principal for the school.
Tobago School for the Deaf, Speech and Language Impaired.
Thank you, Miss Pantin. All right, I'd like to welcome you both here this morning. Thank you so much for joining us here on Youth Wednesdays on Tobago Updates. Right, so our viewers may be wondering, who is Tobago Special Needs Committee and who do you cater to?
Okay, so the Tobago School, the Special School Committee was formed, well, let me just start from where it started.
No problem.
Right, so it was formed as a result of consultation with the Chief Secretary, that was the 4th of February 2022. And this committee, the reason for this committee was to attend to the needs of the persons who were not served by the formal schooling. And so therefore, as the name says, Tobago Special Needs School Committee, that is what we are attending to, the needs of persons with special, with the special needs.
Right.
Right? So later on in that year, around July of 2022, this group was formed, and therefore we had to come together because there were objectives, goals that we have to look at, mainly to find out those who were not served. We had to come up with a plan for what we are going to put in place so that those who are using the special needs school, this modern school that we want to put in place, we have to be able to find out what exactly they would need to make the school profitable for all of the students.
All right. Okay. And well, you told me that it started in 2022. So of course, we're in 2025 now, and over the years, you all would have had some focus goals that you all would have, I'm guessing that those goals would have been attained. Those aims accomplished. So could you share with us some of those goals that you all may have set out and those that you have accomplished over the years?
Okay. So similar to what Mrs. Pantin just shared, we have been looking and making plans towards accommodating persons with moderate to severe disabilities. So that's the main thing. We have two groups of persons with disabilities, and we have the mild to moderate, and those persons are usually served, or children are usually served within a general education setting. But we look at those who are more severe and would require intensive types of interventions, supports, and even services. And that's the group that we are actually catering for. And the group that is, most times often left unserved. The committee's main objective, we were to determine the needs, as Mrs. Pantin would have indicated, to see how many persons or how many individual students have not been served, or we're not meeting them with respect to the two special schools that we have in Tobago, namely Tobago School for the Deaf, Speech and Language Impaired, and Happy Haven, which is located at Signal Hill. All right, so we were to go get information as to what needs. So we're looking to see the depth. So while we're servicing a few within the schools, we want to know how many more we are not reaching and we are not serving. Another was to engage in stakeholder consultation, and this is the main reason why we're here, to let people know that we are about you. And we want you to share, because most times you find that persons who make decisions regarding persons with special needs usually they're not persons with special needs on the committee.
Right.
And we don't want to continue a trend like that. So that's why we're inviting the general public, persons who know, persons with disabilities, parents of individuals or children who have disabilities and really need the services and the supports. They can be a part of that conversation. So they can add to the information where we're talking about that special needs school. When we talk about school, having the committee being met, we recognize that we want to go beyond that. We want to be a little more modern rather than just a simple facility where we have education. We have considered doing it a little broader. So we kind of looking at a campus type of setting. One where we have the assessment and therapy centers available. We have the special needs schools, so we'll still cater to the educational and the other types of needs of the individuals, as well as a tech VOC and agricultural center that will cater to the long-standing so persons who have graduating into age. We still want to have a facility available to make them a little more productive, to have them skilled. So at least we'll have them feel a little more empowered and then make them readily available for employability. All right, so that's what we're looking for. And then a concession. So we want them, even if they're not able to be employed in the general public of Tobago, we're looking at maybe the same campus they can be filtered in. So those are some of the things and the ideas and the objective that we have. We have a really great group, the technical team. We have persons coming from policy development, that is in the form of Mr. Bobby Andrews. We have principals, Mrs. Cordelia Pantin. We have also myself, school psychologist, and I think I'm forgetting a really important person. We have special needs educators as well, Mrs. Alexander. So we have a really cool team, even civil engineers we have on board with us as well too. And I think the dynamic and the interest and the motivation and just wanting to be a part of ensuring that our persons or individuals, especially our children with special needs, are catered to and really be a part of our community is what we're really driving what we do. And we're hoping that the public really come out and assist us in this initiative, because it's not just about us sitting here and making plans for, but we want it to be a situation where we have everyone really put the input so that it will be effective, it will be modern, it will be sustainable, and really we could stand out as a beacon of really meeting our needs of persons with moderate to severe disabilities in Tobago.
Right. I mean, she gave us a lot there. She gave us a lot there, but it's something that we really need to consider as public, because, you know, some of us are not aware of who are special needs or what special needs we're looking at, you know, and here's this committee that is geared towards fulfilling those goals and bringing awareness to the public. You can't say yeah, no anymore, right? Because they are here and they're telling you what is happening. All right. I love how you mentioned that you have a really cool team. From what I'm hearing, the word cool is really fitted there, you know, because it's not just a by the way committee. It's something that was well thought out, something that is aimed to educate, aim to, you know, fulfill those objectives that you would have lined out. Yeah. So in light of that, what is the importance of having such a committee in line with our education system?
All right. So as it stands, we have a number of persons who are on the waiting list, and we need to reach out to those persons because they have rights to education as well. When we speak of the special needs, we are talking about the various forms of disabilities, as some people like to put it, the abilities, because they can do things that they will just do it a little different from the rest of us. But they are able to, within that environment, because of the different instruments or supplemental aids or whatever it is that we are going to use in terms of the methods of teaching. This is what we want to do to meet the needs of the persons. And hence the reason why one of the goals was to find out about the user needs, what it is that we need to put in place in terms of the supplemental aids and also in terms of staffing, the persons who are going to be trained to work with these children. Also, it was very important as the school in terms of education, as Ms. Kent mentioned, having the concession centers and the therapy sections. The design of the school is one that should encapsulate all these different disabilities. So what we have also happening right now is the teachers, well, we are going to have that started in September. It has not quite started, but we do have some persons who are preparing themselves through training. They are doing their own training, you know, in the different areas. For instance, Braille. Some of them are doing sign language. And we are hoping that by September, there will be a certification program that people can access at the University of the Southern Caribbean, right? So we're putting all of these things in place so that when that newly designed school comes into play, we can have persons able and capable of working with the children who have special needs.
Now, Mrs. Pantin, you answered a question I was about to ask there because, well, I have a mom who is a teacher. I know a lot of teachers, right? And they do come into contact with those of special needs that come into the classroom, right? Not all of them will opt to go to the education institutes that we have here in Tobago for them, right? Some of them are actually capable of being in the classroom, the normal classroom setting. Well, what we would consider normal classroom setting, right? I was about to ask you if you all are now going to align yourselves with the teachers, you know, to educate them on how to deal with students in these cases. You know, how do we go about teaching a child who is sitting among my populace in class, but I have to deal with this child specifically because the child is of special needs. You know, how I go about it. Thank you so much for answering that question. And it's actually something that was coming personal from me because, I mean, a lot of teachers, they mention having them, but sometimes they would have to do their own research on how to teach and give them the material. So I think that's a very good initiative. I'm blushing, I'm smiling, I'm happy, you know, that is being done. All right. What are some of the resources that special need individuals or those who may be parents or guardians of special needs children can benefit from this committee?
Okay, so we have, like I'm saying, we're having conversations, we're having discussions because I have been in the field of special education for a very long time. I may not look that way, but I have been. Of
course not.
And key, some things that you would have made mention in terms of the human resources, staffing, special needs education teachers. We have a few. So there's a great need for that. Right. And while you talk about the general education setting, we also have the special education setting in terms of the special needs. That's why I kind of clarified there are two groups that we're looking at. But the focus for now will be on those with moderate to severe disabilities because most often they are left unserviced. Yes. All right? Related services as well. Speech and language therapists, occupational therapists, school psychologists, behavioral specialist, movement therapist, art therapist. These are the other professionals that we are hoping we will have programs set in place to facilitate that. I know the division through DATAS, advanced training, would have bursaries and scholarships available for persons within that realm because special education is really on the forefront of this assembly, and we're really hoping that persons will have interest in that area, special needs education and all that goes with it, so that at least when we have the school or the campus ready, we have ready resources. Because like I said, most of what we're doing is finding what the dearth is, and we know for sure a significant piece has to do with the human resource of it. So while we are having the deliberations and working towards the campus and putting things in place, we're not doing it in isolation because we recognize when the campus is there, what happens, because the campus does not teach or train individuals. So we would definitely have to have that in place. We also will have to have conversations, and that's why we're having these consultations, inviting corporates, Tobago, we're inviting the communities of Tobago as well to come out and really share to see how best we can contribute effectively and immensely in most instances to ensure that these individuals really do have that right to live to achieve, and as well as to be productive citizens of Tobago, Trinidad and Tobago by extension. All right. So those are some of the things, the financial supports that may be available and necessary to parents as well. That's why we are really asking for parents to come out. I know it has been long standing. There's no one here in this room, I think, does not understand the struggles, the challenges of parents specifically, especially for their loved ones, that we recognize that in some instances we may not be there all the time to assist and to help and to support. But we really want parents and the wider community of Scarborough. We're starting in Scarborough. In terms of the consultations at the Scarborough Library, and we're inviting all corporate, community, youth groups, parents, even persons with special needs. You too can contribute to this conversation, and we're inviting you to come out and really support us, because we do not want to provide a facility or provide services that is void of understanding who you are and meeting your need. So this is just some of the information that we wanted to share as the Tobago Special Needs School Committee, and what we have been doing and what we are setting forward to do, so that we can actually get a building, a facility, service, supports, everything that's needed. And I think, like I said, long-standing. And we're hoping that this will help to relieve some of the frustrations that even individuals, and sometimes we forget the individuals are faced, the challenges, because they want to live, they want to contribute as well, and not just on one day, but all the days of their lives, as long as they have health. Yeah. So that is as much as we wanted to share.
All right. And thank you so much for being with us here this morning. Now we're coming to the end of our interview. And you said that one of your main goals for this year is to bring awareness to the public, right? And you'll be doing that in the space of a public consultation. You said, well, we spoke earlier. I got the 411 before you guys, right? But you said that it will be happening on Wednesday of this week, right? So you can give the public
next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday, February 19th, right? So they're going to give you some information on that, and then a little information on how we can contact the committee if needs be. If we want to be a part of this consultation, etc. Where can we find more information?
Okay, so we are, as we said, you can contact the committee actually through the Division of Education, through the Special Needs Group, any of the principals, also the psychologist, Ms. Kent, who is here. So we can get you that information if we ask for help from the public. Because this is going to be out on the media in different forms. Tomorrow we have a group who will be with Tobago Channel 5, right? And so we ask people to listen in.
Yes.
We are asking for support. We are asking that people come out. If you think you have something to say about special ed, some concerns you have, you want to make sure that whatever concerns you have are addressed, we are asking people to visit, to call in, and to ask questions, or go to the schools and probably chat with the principals. And that information will be filtered onto the right persons within the committee. We are also asking for, especially the parents, as Ms. Kent would have mentioned. They are in close connection with the schools. They know what their concerns are, especially with their children, the sort of services that they want for the students, and they are not getting it. We would like to hear from you. We are doing the best that we can for now, but we are hoping that when we have that modern school, we can even do more, but we need the input of the public. So hence the reason we are asking for persons to come out Wednesday next week, the 19th, at the Scarborough Library from 5 to 8 p.m. and give their contribution. Ask, just tell us what you think we can do to better the situations that we have.
All right. Thank you so much, Mrs. Pantin, Mrs. Kent, for being with us here this morning on Youth Wednesdays on Tobago Updates. We had a lot of information there, viewers. So for those of you just joining us, this is Mrs. Marion Kent and Mrs. Cordelia Pantin, right? They were here on behalf of the Tobago Special Needs School Committee, here to give us some information on their public consultations, especially that are upcoming. You can tune in to that public consultation at the Scarborough Library from 5 to 8 p.m. on Wednesday, 19th February 2025. All right, looking at these smiling faces, they are ready to give that information to you, to educate you as a public. Of course, you know, special needs, they do a lot for our committee, our community. They are integrated, you know, so they would love your support in doing so, in educating them to come out to you, to serve the public, just as we do on our everyday lives. All right, so thank you so much, Mrs. Pantin, Mrs. Kent, once again for joining us here on Youth Wednesdays on Tobago Updates. Viewers, we end this segment with a lovely photo of the day captured by Miss Rachel Lee Young, right? This was captured at the CP's Bird Sanctuary in Hope, Tobago, in my beautiful village, right? This perfect gem was glowing in the late afternoon. I'm just reading off of what the lovely words that this young lady submitted, right? In front of us, we have the ruby topaz. Let's see if I could pronounce this here scientific name for it. The Chrysolampis mosquitus. I think I did a very good job there, right? So thank you so much, Miss Lee Young, for your photo of the day. We enjoy this beauty on your screens, and viewers, for those of you who are still with us, I encourage you all to share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
When the game is